not
putting all
on,
that
they're on
together.
they're on the Google Drive, so everything from Saturday's on the Google Drive. So you, if you weren't there, or you wanna share it with somebody, it's there. For your access. All right. Let's run through this real quick. Before I begin, January 20th is MLK Day. Do we wanna keep the meeting that day, or do we wanna change it? I'm fine with keeping it. I don't know if you guys got it down, what your schedules are. It's a day that already should have been on your calendar, but I know that, you know, kids are out of school, all that other stuff.
Probably make an exception, make sure I don't have anything on by four, otherwise we have a 5-year-old and 2-year-old here and then.
Or you could just call in and we can hear them screaming in the background. It's okay. We're okay with that.
Works for me.
Yeah, I'm available.
Alright, good, so we'll get to that shortly. We need to approve the board. Do we want to continue with me as chair, Lily as vice chair? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
So please.
Okay.
Aye.
Alright, and secretary and co-secretary, are you guys willing to continue sharing that duty for this year coming up?
I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
We may need someone occasionally to fill in, but.
Alright, we can make that happen.
On occasion.
We are women, we can do that.
We can do anything.
Alright, so everybody has sent me a biography except for Mariel. I have asked, and Anya.
I'm about to do that right now.
Okay, and I have asked Sarah for a headshot, so I got hers. I need to get a headshot from Libby. And then I think we should be good. I will say to you that I sent an email to Anna, and she has resigned her position from the commission. So we now have 8 slots. There are 11 of us. We have 8 slots. Maggie's on that list too. I need to get her stuff. Claudia Jimenez is gonna be on the January 7th agenda for the Board of Commissioners. So she won't come on board till January, well, February.
Okay.
She should be at that first meeting, if she's still interested, once they go through that process. You guys got the revisions for the attendance section of the bylaws? Are we good with that?
Yeah.
So we're ready to approve the bylaws?
Yes. Yep.
All right. Who would like to be facilitator for next meeting? I'm happy to create the agenda, but we had discussed, having everybody kind of do a rotation of running the meeting.
I'm happy to do, if I have an agenda and I know what we're supposed to cover, yeah, I can absolutely lead the
Okay.
conversation.
So Paula will facilitate the next meeting.
Well, I've also got a cough drop in my mouth, but yes, it is, it's improving.
I'll get you the agenda.
Perfect, yeah,
It usually happens the week before.
okay.
Unfortunately, I'm not in school that week, so.
I really get it.
All right, I sent you guys the paper that I had, that I just handed out. Did you guys get a chance to look at that? Because that was basically just a layout of the annual plan, what we talked about on Saturday, and the things that we laid out. You've now had the weekend to think about everything that we talked about. Was there anything that you wanted to add to that? We had agreed that we were going to leave the, outreach and the, sorry, my brain is foggy today. We agreed we were gonna leave the outreach plan and the dissemination of information for later. outreach plan because we needed to actually gather information so we could decide who, what, when, where, and how. So it's on the plan, but it's not really finite in terms of what that looks like yet, because we don't really know what it looks like yet. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So unless you guys have anything that you wanna add to this, can we go ahead and approve this as our annual plan for 2020? Okay, and then what I will do is I will reach out to Jasmine, I will let her know that this is our agenda for 2020. And see what ways we can partner with the Board of Commissioners once we start making some progress on, what our agenda is in terms of having, had conversations with those experts and fleshing out what it is we're trying to do for next year. Okay.
It occurred to me when I was typing up the notes that Jasmine may have some suggestions too of county departments or county other task forces or whatever for us to work with on these particular topics, so that would be.
Yeah, so when I send my email to her, it's basically gonna be, these are the top 3 issues that we're going to focus on for our agenda for next year. Doesn't mean that the other things on our list are not there, because I'm actually gonna just send her this sheet right here so she can see kind of where we've fleshed out, and ask her for her input in terms of, you know, who else she thinks we might wanna reach out to. I don't expect really a whole lot of, input from the commissioners, other than maybe some suggestions from Jasmine about who we can partner with. But she's on my list. And I will say to you that I did a little bit of digging, and though it's not in black and white, I'm presuming that the reason that the agenda assembly is held in August is because August was when the 19th Amendment was ratified. So that would be the thing that would make most sense about why we're having the agenda assembly now. All right. Do we have anything we wanna post on Facebook?
Are we firm about the January date, or do we need to?
January what?
I'm sorry, August date, August 22nd date?
We're as
Is
firm
it-
as we can be.
Okay, does Libby know that date? Because she's gonna be chairing it.
She knows it's in August. She knows that it's after the begin, it's
Right.
after the
Right.
after school starts and before, and at least a week before Labor Day.
So we could start talking about it.
I think we can start talking about it, even if that day changes and it's not the 22nd, it's the week after.
Right, we can still start talking about.
We can still talk about, it's the second or third week in August, we can still start talking about that. One of the things I'm gonna do on, post on Facebook is that, look for more information for our agenda assembly that's happening the second or third week in August. So people can already have that on their radar. Also, as I do that, I'm gonna send an email to, Jasmine, Avril, Deborah, and, Quentin about that agenda assembly, because we did agree that we would like them to at least have a panel to discuss some of these issues. So even if we do select other speakers, I wanna at least put them on notice that that's, our plan is to ask them to participate in that in some way. Okay? So that's on my list of to-dos. All right. So, can we finalize in as much as we can the committees?
Yeah. Let's do that.
You're doing membership
And
helping where you can with the other committees. Ariel and I are on the mental health committee. Anna's gonna be on the committee with Libby for the agenda assembly. So then what we have left is we need Mariel, Anya, Maggie.
Well, we have Sarah chairing the school.
And Sarah's chairing the
She's on
school.
the calendar.
So,
Those are the chairs, but we need to have everybody who wasn't there sign up for
Darlene is doing the childcare.
Is she?
Darlene's doing the childcare. Yeah, the committee's on the back sheet. So, Darlene, not Darlene, sorry, Carmen is doing the childcare.
Yeah.
So,
I'm happy to jump in wherever I'm needed. And I probably know the most about mental health, but I can go wherever.
well, you can hop on that committee with us.
Yeah, joining. And the way we went about it is were you there for the part where we set up, we essentially identified all of the things that we've heard.
She was
from
there,
women.
cause your name is
Oh,
on the
that
list.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
it was
name's
for
on
the
list.
list of
Your name's on the list.
names, but
But
not
we sort of
the.
finalized committee
Yeah.
chairs at the end, I guess. so
That's-
maybe you
yeah,
are
that's
there.
the part I missed.
Okay, so there are 3 of us on the mental health.
Okay.
We will need more people on the disparities in schools and childcare.
I definitely do childcare.
Sweet.
We knew, yeah, I knew.
I know, you know I go
But we
in
just
there. And there's
don't-
also
we don't
some,
wanna assume.
And I did tell Sarah I would help with the disparities in schools,
Oh, okay.
cause I know the membership thing probably won't take that much time.
Okay, so I'm gonna toss you on the disparities in schools. Yes, ma'am.
and just out of curiosity, what is task force referring to on that list?
I don't know, Anne raised the issue of the task force with, and I can't remember
I was
what
looking
the
at the
task
task
force
force.
was.
Oh, there was that task force that Jenny Evelyn chaired, I don't know if it still exists, that was pushing the General Assembly to increase the voucher rate in Buncombe
Oh.
County.
Actually, I think,
Is it part of Children First?
I think she's working on that through Children First, and I
Okay.
think, Greg Borum would be
Okay,
a good
okay,
contact there.
that's what I was thinking
Well,
of.
Greg Borum's on the list for Children
Yeah.
First, so.
Greg, yeah, I think they've pretty much taken over, not
Okay.
taken over, but like are the main agency that's pushing increasing the
The
voucher
vouchers.
reimbursement.
Okay, alright, so at a minimum, we've got 2 people per committee. I'm happy to be on the membership committee with you.
Okay.
I mean, that sounds, everything makes sense. But you're still the chair.
Yes, I'm happy to drive it. If you just point me in the direction to drive, I can handle it.
Just saying, I'm going to only be
So we
chair
need to
one
get the
thing.
other members to pick a committee, right?
So we still need, Darlene,
Maybe.
Maggie,
That's it,
and I think that's it.
until,
Until Claudia comes
Claudia.
on board, then we're good. Alright, so we already agreed on the rules. Meet or connect at least 2 times a month. Be prepared to give an update bi-monthly. If you have an update prior to that, that's great. I'm perfectly fine with that update being an email to everybody, as long as you make sure to bring a copy of that, of those notes for us, to the meeting. Cause I'd like to make sure that as we have committees and we have meeting minutes or notes or whatever it is we do with those committees, that we upload those onto the Google Drive as well. Also remember that you do not have to be a Women's Commission member to be a member of the committee. Doesn't mean you can't vote on anything, but you're allowed to have other people on the committee. The one thing I will ask though is that if you have people who are not commission members on the committee, that you keep attendance. And that you document that membership for us, so we know who those people are. Okay. And everybody has the same agenda for the committee, which is included in the retreat notes. If there's anything that you wanna change, let me know. Of course, this is, it's a fluid document, so it's gonna change as we go, as we learn new things, as we find better ways of doing what we're doing. Alright. Any questions about any of
we
that?
do also have the minutes, which covers some of the stuff that's not on here.
Minutes
That
are,
they're posted,
the minutes
right?
are in that agenda, retreat, the retreat folder. link to the Google Docs when I sent that agenda, so everybody now should have access to that folder. Also, if you open up the PDF I send you with the agenda, you should be able to select those links that are on the bottom of the page. I tried to make it as easy as possible for everybody. Do we have any questions about anything we talked about yet? This is gonna be a short meeting because we did a lot of work on Saturday.
We got stuff done.
I guess the only thing that is not on the agenda, but we should probably talk about, throw this under the any other issues, is now that we have, now that Claudia might be coming on board in February, we should think about, what we want it to look like when we invite other organizations to recommend members. We will now have, when Claudia comes on, we'll have 7 seats available.
7 or 8.
7, with Anna we had 12.
Okay.
Hey,
Hey, you.
that's all right.
You made it.
So we just finalized committees, voted on the,
I'm joining you on yours.
Anya joined you on the town.
fantastic.
So you're not
Thank you.
alone.
I'm not alone.
We just reiterated, meeting or making contact at least 2 times a month. Updates bi-monthly, more if you feel like you need to. If you do have someone else who's on the committee that's not a commission meter, a member, we do want attendance and membership information, just so we know who's participating in this process. When we talked about having people from organizations recommend people to sit on the commission, we were bouncing around ideas of what that would look like. And I wanna make sure that we're still on the same page, that we're going to invite them to apply. It's not gonna be a designated seat for each organization, because we wanna control who sits on this board. So I guess the question is, what do we want that invite to look like? You had sent me, I think, a name of someone, Anya had sent me a name of someone. We wanna send out just an email saying, this is what the Women's Commission does, this is our agenda for 2020. We think it might be appropriate to have someone from your organization sit on the commission with us. Would you recommend someone who you think would be willing to participate? They would need to fill out an application, be appointed by the Board of Commissioners. Okay. I'll work on an email in that regard and send it out to you guys.
And that would go to the executive directors of those agencies.
It would go to best contact. Yeah, best contact, and they need to forward it to their executive director, that's fine, cause I don't know the executive directors, all these, I'm just using the resources that we've got. And then we'll go from there. I'll send that email out to you guys to vet before it goes out real time. But I think it's important that we're very clear that they have to go through the same process that we have to. They have to be willing to dedicate the time. They have to be able to show up face to face at least 1 time a quarter, to participate. Otherwise,
Yeah, the attendance rules are gonna be important for that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do we know which organizations?
No.
Well, Anya sent me someone from Children First.
Was it our voice that, was it Angelica or?
I think you sent me Angelica from Our Voice.
I think I recommended from someone from partnership.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have to go back to the emails. They're somewhere in my email queue. I didn't get rid of them.
And you might have talked to Katie from a therapist like me feeling that they could commit personally, but was thinking somebody else from the organization would be good, so.
Okay, okay, I don't know what I did, I thought I had the email.
But I know Angelica was very interested. And
Okay.
she said she used to be on the commission.
Alright, so I'm gonna go back to those emails, if I cannot find them, I'm gonna just reach out to you guys again to resend it to me. And we'll go from there. If you have any other suggestions in the meantime, let me know. And my hope is to send that email out by the end of January. Now let's think about this. If I send it out by the end of January, then hopefully you would get applications in February. That means people would start coming on board in March.
Maybe.
Because Board of Commissioners has 2 meetings a month. So we have 2 opportunities to get someone involved.
Do you want us to email you names or do you wanna?
Would you email them to me? Because my hope is when you email it, you'll email me also the contact information. And let me know if it's the contact for the suggestion or the contact for a person who might be a good candidate.
Okay.
Just so I know, it might end up in 2 slightly differently worded emails.
So we use these lists that we brainstormed as starting point of people that might want to invite.
You can, or, you know.
Or could be something.
Could be something totally.
Could be
different.
something totally different. The goal is to find a way to make some connections that are gonna provide us what we need to get our agenda done. And so, I mean, it may not be anybody who's on any one of those programs, but somebody who sits on a board, who knows those people, you know, somebody who donates to it, I don't know. We can make it look like what we want it to look like. It's a brand new slate, so let's go from there. And then I guess the next question is, how many seats do we want to reserve for that? For those types of positions? 3, 4, 5?
For which type?
The people that we are very specifically looking to establish partnerships with.
Is that gonna be, but there's still gonna be members of the
There's still gonna be
commission, so-
members, but
So you're saying how many should we dedicate specifically to organization?
yeah.
There's 7 seats available, is that correct?
Yeah, there'll be 7 seats.
So I feel like 4 would be good.
Okay. I'm fine with 4. Is everybody else fine with 4?
Yeah, yeah.
Will we just like send you emails of the ideas of organizations in town we think would be good to represent, and then you're gonna send out emails to all of the contacts, and from there we'll kind of look at what we get back and decide based on that?
Or if there's individuals at those organizations, right?
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's something for us to think about.
I'm just thinking if we have 4 slots that we're saying, what if we get 10?
We do like we do now. We go
Discuss them.
through, we
Yeah.
discuss them, we
Mhm.
decide which one we think is gonna be the best fit. Because just because they're part of that organization doesn't mean that we're not still looking for, the diversity and everything else that we're looking for when we establish the commission. You know, I mean, we've tried this year to focus on hitting a number of different categories in terms of race, sexuality, retired, working, you know, all those demographics. So those are still things that we need to take into consideration, which is one of the reasons why we had the discussion about them actually needing to apply rather than just being given a seat at the table, because we want to be able to control that. So I think 4 seats is good. because it can't hurt to have more.
Yeah, not
you can't-
everybody's
Not everybody's gonna be able to do it.
Not everybody's gonna be able to do it.
Especially when they see what the commitment.
Yeah.
Well, the people we like, we can just ask to join a committee or something like
Yeah,
that.
and that's the other
Still
option, is
That's
that
true, too.
even if they don't have time to give to the commission, they might be able to dedicate an hour or so a month to help us forward our agenda. Is that a plan that we all can agree on? Yeah?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Do we have anything else that we need to talk about? I told you it was gonna be down and dirty. I would like for, next month for us to actually begin just sort of talking out our plans for, talking with our experts, maybe spend some time coming up with some questions that we should be asking, and the reason I say that is because I want us all to be, we've all got the same agenda. I would like us all to be focusing on the same kinds of questions, so that we're getting responses to the same kind of requests. So maybe if we could spend, in January having that conversation. In the meantime, if you have any questions that you think we should have on that list, write them down for me and bring them to the meeting so that we're all prepared to have that conversation. Is there anything else you think we need to be talking about today? I think we had some really good progress on Saturday.
Yeah.
I felt like it was productive. I think we got a lot of good ideas and great jumping off points. It's a matter of implementing it. So I really hope that in January we can hit the ground running and move forward with this. You're all adults. I expect you all to set your own schedules for meetings and whatnot. I don't care if you have them over the phone, in person, over coffee, whatever. Hiking the mountain, doesn't matter, just let's make some progress here. For a long time, I've been feeling like we haven't been doing that. So I'd like next year to look different, now that we've got, all of us are practically new, so I think we've got a good place to move from. Do we have anything you wanna?
We had talked about whether we needed to meet somewhere else since we have to be out here by 5:00.
Yeah, we had talked about that.
It hasn't been an issue yet.
Not yet, but that's on our agenda for discussion for next year. Hopefully by then, we'll have Claudia on board, so that'll give us 12.
She has the Unitarian Church.
Yeah.
She has what?
She has the
She
Unitarian,
has church.
the Unitarian
Oh, okay.
Church, so we, yeah.
Might be able to take space with them.
Right, see, so there's
Well,
a
Libby
method,
offers the wine.
there's a method to my madness.
They have lots of good space there.
But also, moving into the new year, we'll all have a better idea of what our schedules are gonna look like. I don't want us to commit to something until we have a flavor of what life is gonna be like
Yeah.
next year. And think about that, I'm generally fine with meeting on a Saturday, but my kids are grown. I can't meet, well, back up. I can meet after 5:00 on the evenings as long as you don't mind having a 1-year-old running around. Because I watch my grandson in the evenings.
You don't mind having a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old screaming.
Hey, I am all for this, this is women's work. Sometimes we have to bring our kids to things.
Well, and I was thinking about the idea, and I know this might feel too much or too scattered, but what would it be like to meet in different locations,
The only reason that that's a concern is that our meetings are open, and we would have to ask Stacy to update our meeting every time we changed it.
That's the point.
So whatever we do, whatever we do, we need to be, we need to be sure
bus driver, all of those things would have to come into play, so.
It's always gonna be, there's always gonna be something, like,
Mhm.
anytime, right? It's, you
Yeah.
make work and some people
Yeah,
can't,
but if
some
we had a
people-
moving
Yeah, if it
meeting,
goes
that
a
would be
moving, that
really
would
hard.
be really hard.
It's very true.
So, I'd like us to settle on something that's gonna work for everybody, you know, and Saturdays are great, but we all have something,
Saturdays are gonna be hard.
our
to do.
lives
Yeah.
during the week, and if you've got kids, whatever, you've got your life
And is
on
this
Saturday.
4 p.m. time really good for everybody? Has it been in the
It
past?
sort of feels like that's what people keep coming back to, like, we talk about other times, because there's a sense of maybe
What
wanting a
it-
different time, but
Mhm.
then it just all sort of comes back to, well, this is the time that is working for people.
Yeah, it seems to be working for people.
As long as people have it on their calendar in
Yeah.
advance, that makes it a little bit easier.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we can move it to, like I say, we can move to the middle of the week. You know, cause everybody getting into the office on Monday trying to play catch up or get
Mhm.
started for the week. Nobody wants to be at a meeting on Friday afternoon. We would consider changing it to a morning, you know, early morning meeting before.
That would be good. I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but most of my meetings always get scheduled in the afternoons, so like this, I didn't even, it was supposed to be on Friday, and then, you know, there was a threat of inclement weather, but generally, like, if it's at the city, it's like 3:30 or 4, and those things are usually like 90 minutes, but
Yeah, cause
in
they
the
just wanna
morning.
make sure you work your full day.
But in the morning times, like, I'm
Yeah.
so much more flexible in general, you know, there are meetings that are scheduled on a regular basis, but, you know, you can plan around this.
Me and
so.
seeing patients or clients, so it's really just about blocking the schedule.
Oh, okay.
I could do morning, I could do, I just need to know if I have something.
Mhm.
Well, why don't you guys think about it, throw out some ideas at our next meeting
Cool.
of what might work.
I do like music coffee.
Well, now, see, then we have to,
Go somewhere else.
we have to start a pool where
Oh,
we
I
are,
was just saying bring my own, but I'll bring
Oh.
everybody else coffee too.
there would be a fight if you had coffee and nobody else
Yeah,
had.
we all did it. It's true. We could do a rotating, yeah. I'd be down for that, for sure.
Okay, so let's think about it, I mean,
Mhm.
it's been on our topic list for a while.
Yeah.
We said we were gonna wait till we had more members before we made that decision, and I think we're in that critical mass, so we can be having that discussion come January. And finalize something, and see what works. Anything you want me to put on Facebook? If you had a chance, I posted that, we had the retreat, and we set our agenda, and added a link to the, State of Women in North Carolina report. People should have access to that.
What if we did things like highlighting things in the community that are going on that support
Mhm.
women?
That would be great.
That would be awesome, that's why I'm asking, what do you wanna put on there? Last time I did a link to the discussion they had about the opioid crisis.
Yeah.
I did add, a link to the Citizens Time where they posted, that the county is now part of the Matches grant. I did post a link to the board information for the early childhood education and the, affordable housing commissions, so people know that. And I've got to say, since I've been posting stuff, we're getting at least 3 or 4 hits. A month, you know. We're getting some engagement, I don't necessarily always know who that engagement is coming from, but,
Is it mutual?
no, it's not me. It's not my daughter either.
Like,
No, I know Shelley Brown keeps up with us, cause I can see that she's looked at stuff. I don't always have time to drill down into the data, but, Facebook's pretty good about letting me know how many engagements we've
Yeah.
gotten
go to, the Women's Commission and you click on it, it says email to, there's no link to like our page. So I don't know if
And
that's
it's
something-
where?
You were talking about at the retreat.
The
that
Women's
it-
United
Mhm.
page?
So if you go to the Women's United website, and then you go to our partners, you see like all the lists, right? So when you click on ours, it clicks open like an email to, so it doesn't go to our
Doesn't go to
page.
our page.
No, and I believe it's that person's name, who is her email.
And it's on the very first page of Women's United?
No, you have to click, the partnership
Okay.
part is, you know, like a subject
Okay.
where you click on.
I will make a note to reach out to them and see if they can't, update that. And have them link maybe to our Facebook page. Alright, so yeah, if you guys have things that you would like me to add to Facebook, just in general, you might also want to send out to your friends, like this page, so they'll see when stuff happens as well.
Could also do, like, post it in the Asheville groups,
Say that again?
post it, like, post a little blurb in Asheville Mamas, or say like, hey, do you know anything?
Is that a Facebook page you're part of?
Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate you doing that for us.
Yeah, there's a couple of.
I mean, there's a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it in the groups that I'm involved in.
Just action groups and, yeah.
That'd be good.
My hope is that this year and next, that we'll be able to, take advantage of social media. I don't think Facebook was used that much. I've scrolled through it and I didn't see a whole lot of stuff on Facebook from past terms, so I don't know. I mean, I know kind of who was the administrators of it, but I don't know that they ever really posted much of anything. So my hope is to try to post as much as we can.
That would
And
be
that's
great to have a
basically
strong
what our
community.
role is, right, is to let the community know what's going on. So I'll do that. Anything else? Safe and happy holidays.
Yes.
You too.
Remember to go to your safe space when your family starts getting a little out of control. Prepare your safe space